The show is dropping off benefits again. The promised wilderness survival resources are scarce. How come every time you fish, there's a catfish? The harvest is richer if you cast a net. Are you sure the show didn't release them? The most dramatic is the hunting of antelopes. The size of that is way too big. Everyone gets a share of the meat. There's enough meat left to make a tower. Is this really not a script from the show? Well, they're eating really well. How can you press down on the corners of your mouth? Might as well call it a wilderness buffet. I'd also like to go and experience the local barbecue. See if it's really clean and hygienic. Danny was a vegan in the last challenge. Her body didn't make it to the end. And Gary managed to hunt and eat the antelope. But because of eating rotten meat caused stomach upset, they're going to start digging. The loser will be controlled by the first place and hand over everything to the solo camp. You might as well just throw him out. So the winner has a huge advantage. You never know who's going to run into it. Fredo thinks he has a shovel. I'm sure there's no problem with this challenge. The others are much more nervous. Nobody wants to be the last one to finish. Set the pot aside before the challenge. Next, they're going to dig a seepage well, then collect the sample stones and boil them. It is mainly to test everyone's ability to purify wild water, especially in an environment like Africa. Attempts are often made to dig for groundwater to drink. Boil the water using a tarp and stones. This is not an easy thing to do. People thought it would be easier to go hunting. Jeff's the one with the experience. You just have to have hands. He thought he had it all figured out. As the challenge begins, everyone immediately ran to gather materials for digging. The advantage of being first is too great. I'm all set to finish the challenge first. Here's what's interesting about this challenge. Everyone is free to decide whether to dig water first or to make fire first. This choice will affect the efficiency of the later boiling water. Dank was thinking about Mr. Fire Rock. Once dug, it can be boiled immediately. Jeff started by collecting small stones. Heating depends on the size of the surface area, so it's important what you choose. And Gary just lit the fire. Dank was a little slower. Once the rocks are in place, you can start digging. Keith set the stones in place before setting them on fire. It took a while to complete. Everyone thought Mr. Fire would heat the stone. Finish time is about the same. The most important thing is the speed of digging. Even if he's inexperienced in this challenge. Only the shovel in my hand. At least you don't have to worry about coming in last. Trick was the one who dug with the husks first. There is something about doggy paddle. Anytime you see water seeping out, he can collect things and light them. We need to dig really deep on this side. The quality of the mining tools is now reflected. People like Gary dig really fast. There's already water seeping out. That's quite a bit ahead of everyone. While the water slowly seeps up, this basin is made for you. Dank's bones are of very good quality. With all the muscles in your body, it's a dig that's a quack. He wanted to design a tank, so you can get more rocks in. When the water boils, pour it back into the jar. It's not a challenge until it's full. So how much to cook at one time is a special test of player experience. Too much can cause evaporation. It took Keith a while to get to the water, with nothing but a stick in his hand. She has almost completed the challenge. It's not like Dank's container. Keith, this will be narrower and deeper. This is especially good insulation. You just have to pick the rock well. Only large rocks can give off more sustained heat. It's just that sometimes a stick can hurt itself. It will affect the work efficiency in some way. Well, that's a pretty handy shovel for Fredo. It's just that he's already behind the others. If you want to finish first, we have to hurry to get the well and the container ready. Trick's got the fire up and running. As long as Dank and Keith are in the top tier, their little team has a chance to make it to the end. It turns out that either you fire or dig the well first. In fact, the impact is not very big. The main thing is what is the container design. This may be the key to opening the gap. Jeff, the most experienced, has just gathered his materials, a little bit behind everyone else. Let's see if Jeff can do the rest in one go. If I can win this challenge, what is he going to tell us about the effect of the show? Gary's already starting to pour water into the container. Trick, on the other hand, is a little better. Well, he's got a quick drain. The other runners are just waiting for the water to fill up. Jeff's the only one who just got the fire started. Looks like he's about to finish the challenge. Jeff wasn't in any hurry about it. First place may be out of reach, but last place is definitely not going to have a chance. He did not believe that the axe in his hand was any worse than the original tool. The worst part was Trick coming over and making fun of it. I just want to go up there and punch him. What does Jeff say about coming in last? The seepage well is secured. Speed up and get the container ready. Trick thought Jeff was doomed. I have to fight for first place to control him. It's a lot more comfortable than just sending Jeff home. This side of the stone is almost baked. For now, I'm in the lead. You can go get the pot first. Man, I'm afraid Jeff's gonna hit him with an axe. It'd be funny if they ended up in the same camp. Trick had begun to put stones into the boil. Gary's going a little slower. The other players are still trying to fill the container. Jeff was the only one who didn't even finish the container. He's gonna lose everything. Jeff knew it was too late to rush. Focus on the task at hand. He has faith in his stone. It's gonna boil really hard in the back. Yes, but the progress is much slower. Dank has started to put the stones into the container. Fredo was too tired to move. The efficiency of fetching water is very low. It always felt like Jeff was going to outdo him. Keith has started putting stones in here. Large rocks are preferred for heating. Actually, just a little bit smaller is enough. She felt it was the key to completing her challenge. It's going to be faster than any other player. Trick put a bunch of rocks in there, but it never seemed to boil. Gary had the same problem. So fast is not necessarily a good thing. The stone must now be returned to the fire. It takes more time each time. It was useless for Gary to worry now. He had to wait. The only bubbling water on Dank's side is around the rocks. To boil all the water, you have to put hotter stones in it. Jeff filled the water directly with the container. This really reduces the time it takes to transport water. Or else do what Frando did. I don't even have the water after the challenge. He had begun to put stones into the container. The water here in case is boiling. Worried that this trip won't fill the whole pot. Just keep adding water to it. I hope that's enough. Gary doesn't watch the other players work to see if the rocks are heating up. He thinks first place is hopeless. Jeff has started to add stones to the water. Boy, there's a real chance of a counterattack. His container is much bigger than the others. The stones are all small ones. This means that the boiling time will be shorter than others. You don't have to worry about the pan filling. Trick was teasing Jeff about how happy he was. That's how bad that face is right now. The early lead has been caught up by the others. It's hard to say who will finish the challenge first. Who do you think is more likely to fail right now? The stone heats very well on this side of Frodo. The water is almost boiled. Go and get the pot and fill it with water immediately. As long as it can be filled, it will be the first person to complete the challenge. Jeff thought it wouldn't be fun if he came in first. I want a show to look like me. Why do you think the show keeps bringing him in? Jeff's about to boil the water. He still has a chance to come back. It depends on whether the water overflows on this side of Frodo. The other players are freaking out. Jeff has picked up the pace to fill the pot. No one expected Jeff to start as an underdog. Eventually, it will reverse and become number one. It's a bit of a shame. Frodo was so close. This is his most recent number one. Right now, Jeff wants to know what happened to Trick. Trick, that was awkward as hell. Turns out Jeff's got a little something. Why else would you be invited over so many times by the show? Jeff's already waiting for the loser to finish last. It better be Trick, so the show can be full. A lot of people don't believe in their own strategy. Thought trading axes was stupid. The result, however, was that he won first place. Although Frando didn't make it to first place. But to continue the challenge is quite satisfying. The water is boiling here in case. Just waiting for the pot to fill up. Dank followed and brought the pot back. And Gary and Trick are still out there trying. The Dank tank was made for this moment. Just pick it up and pour it into the pan. However, this water is not enough to overflow. It was just that close. Now all I can do is bring some water back to the boil. Worried about being outdone by someone else. Keith has successfully completed the challenge. You know, Keith dug with primitive tools. In a way, I'm the winner here. Prove you're no worse than a man. In the wild, women are capable of overcoming challenges. The rest of you are in such a hurry. Gary also successfully brought the pot back to fill the water. This is followed by Trick finishing the boil. Dank made a miscalculation and had to boil the water a second time. It's really hard to say who will be last. Personally, I think Dank's a good bet. After all, he's going to do a secondary boil. But Dank hit me right in the face. He boiled the water as soon as the stone was put in. Just pour it right into the pan and finish the challenge. Now it's up to Gary or Trick to finish it quickly. Jeff's already talking to Frodo about the squad. Whoever loses is okay with him. Actually, it better be Gary. After all, he has the most stuff. Gary didn't expect to end up like Dank. It was as close to overflowing. So angry that he wanted to give up the challenge. Trick's gonna need a lot more water. As long as you don't make mistakes, you can do it. Although Gary's got a lot of speed here. The stones have been heated and boiled in water. Too bad I couldn't get past Trick. Sorry to be the last one. Gary was very disappointed in himself. I wish I could put a little more water in it. The next step is to lose all control of Jeff. Maybe we should just get rid of it. It's a pain in the ass. We're moving to camp next. Jeff hasn't figured out how to split it yet, okay. You have plenty of time to choose. I mean, Gary lost everything. And there are no teammates to speak of. But I have some experience in African wilderness survival. Have the confidence to make it to the end alone. Jeff's trying to figure out what would make the most sense. Who do you think he's going to pick as a teammate? Soon they came to the campsite. And then it's time for Jeff's show. Trick was pretty upset about that. If the camera wasn't there, I really wanted to kick his ass. Jeff packed up all of Gary's things and took them away. He put Keith and Frodo together first. And then Dank and Trick set it up. He's going to join one of them. Trick didn't expect to be able to play like this. Finally, he decided to join Keith. In fact, the reason is very simple. That is the top 3 in the last challenge. He just wants to be on the team of the strong. That's going to piss Dank and Trick off. Why do you hunt a lot of food yourself? Jeff's going to start working on it right now. I really did it for the show. The other players have to go somewhere else. All around Gary was the sound of elephants moving. He has to secure the camp. Find as many thorny branches as you can. Let's hope that keeps the elephants at bay. Dank and Trick think Jeff's a loser. Didn't join the team. We'll have to eliminate him at the next challenge. They found a nice place to set up camp. Just need to clear the ground a little. then weave branches into a wall to block it. They're a little worried that Keith might betray their team. Let's hope Keith is with them to the end. Jeff's been busy getting the camp ready. My teammates are easy to talk to. I don't want Trick to be so aggressive. Frando didn't like the Danks. He thinks Jeff's a pretty good player. It's just a little bit more aggressive. Keith didn't really want to join the discussion. Just do your own thing anyway. No sooner were we talking about Dank than they came over. Aggression that's pretty strong, and invited Jeff over to learn how to build it. You wouldn't be able to stop after dark. Jeff didn't think it was time for a confrontation. When the next challenge comes, he'll have to settle. Trick, get ready for elimination and go home. Less than an hour before dark, Keith met Dank and his men while fetching water. Dank didn't want Keith to share anything with Jeff. They're a real team, after all, and Keith doesn't like that conversation. Why do you feel like you're on the inside? She really didn't want to clash with the others. Trick just wanted to prove himself so badly. No sense of the world. We ended up having a very unpleasant conversation. Day 36 of the challenge. Dank's had enough of his food. They have to find a way to stockpile enough food. For now, fishing is the best bet. Keith's betrayal made them feel terrible. They found a nice place. There are many fish wandering in the water. Trick had just put down his line. I've already got a fish bite. It was like a dream. It was incredible. The fish here must have been hungry for a long time. I'll bite you with a little bait. Jeff's team is struggling for food here. You have a bunch of tools at your disposal, but the benefits are not very high. Can we just go to the river and see what we got? You know, Jeff's gonna throw a net. It will scare away the surrounding catfish. Jeff's net kept catching fish. The worse it gets for Dank and them. I wish Jeff would stop catching fish. Jeff saw more and more fish in the net, laughing at Trick at the same time. I didn't forget to invite them over for a taste. Jeff knows how to make a show work, right? Cook the fish as soon as you get back to camp. Jeff didn't eat the food all by himself. Keith didn't think he was so bad after all. It's just a lot of high-profile stuff. Everyone ate it quite happily. Keith thinks this is what a team should look like. The atmosphere is getting better and better. The challenge continued on the 37th day. The worst part was Gary. Nothing, starting from scratch. Now is there anything we can eat that we should try? Not even the pollen. He really misses being around his teammates. Now I see honey on the tree. I don't have the tools to eat it. The mood is very uncomfortable. Unless I go to Jeff for a tool. Gary hopes he'd like some honey on the hour. Find Jeff immediately and talk about borrowing tools. Jeff was pretty comfortable with his old friend Gary, even if he took the food and the axe. I have a bunch of tools I can use, just in time to see if Gary's holding the line. Gary immediately climbed up the tree and cut off the honey. I'm afraid he'll suddenly fall down there. I almost got myself sent away. Now he's going to enjoy it. I would have given Jeff more of my own, or it'll be hard to borrow the tool next time. Jeff saw Gary coming with honey. He knows he made the right deal. You know, this wilderness survival. Just Jeff likes to trade things with people. I was getting better and better. Instead of thinking about attacking people, it was another successful trade. All you have to do is borrow the axe, and you'll have honey. Such a good thing. I wish Gary would come more often. The challenge continued on the 38th day. It's getting closer to the end of the challenge. Now we need to get more food, so that you have the strength to face the challenge. Keith and Fredo are going to hunt for some food, like this puddle right here with a good ambush spot right next door. Everyone's spirits are getting better and better, all working towards one last challenge. And Jeff found a good spot for an ambush. Next to the puddle is the bush. It's ready to use after a little tidying up. Trick would love to hunt for food too, since Jeff ridiculed the last challenge. His mood was getting worse and worse. A win is needed to change that. Jeff used elephant dung to mask his smell, hoping the other animals won't find out. Just waiting for the animals to come and drink. Suddenly, a warthog appears in front of the camera. I think I want to swim in the water. As soon as Jeff thinks about something, that piggy runs away. Looks like we're just going to have to wait. Keith finally waited for the antelope to arrive. At once, Fredo took aim with his bow. There's a lot of meat to eat when you hit it. Too bad it was so close. Fredo thought he was still in a hurry. If it's a little steadier, there's meat to eat. Trick waited so long. We finally saw an antelope approaching, and you can't even hit it at this close range. Now he became even less confident. Tell Dank how hard it is to catch the antelope as soon as we get back to camp. Suddenly, I heard Jeff's trademark shout. Go see what's going on, okay? It was 2 hours ago. Jeff has been trying to hunt antelope. It was hard to spot the target and hit it. Now he had to wait for the antelope to stop. Walk slowly along the trail. I found it a short distance ahead. It's been a long time since he hunted alone. Right now the mood is pretty emotional. Get rid of this antelope immediately. There is no greater joy in survival in the wild than the hunt. Then he will win the challenge and collect the prize money. Jeff didn't forget to come over and taunt Trick. Hunting an antelope is easy. Trick was a little embarrassed. I was just saying how hard this hunt is. Next thing I know, it's hanging up there. Jeff couldn't be happier. They'll even give him some meat to eat. It's the kind of food you can't say no to. I don't know what Jeff wants to do. Jeff is very happy right now. I hope it's on record. Make sure it's edited for Trick to see. How happy was the look of surprise. Even though he said he would share it with others. But he won't give too much, just enough for his opponents to satisfy their cravings. Gary didn't expect Jeff to deliver the meat. I saw he said the rest was for Danny's team. I knew instantly that he was going to do something bad. Gary thought it was right to share the honey yesterday. This big piece of meat is enough to satisfy itself. Dank saw Jeff coming with the bone. You know what's going on in an instant. Because that's when Danny put the rotting meat in the pot. I almost got myself sent away. Give them some bones this time, feel sorry for them. Keith didn't expect meat when they got back. And Jeff is willing to share it. What's wrong with a team like this? Next, they gather the materials to make the smoker. Hang all the meat on it and smoke it. Gary was already enjoying the stew. I can eat meat while I'm lying down today. If I get a bonus, I'm sure he's going to buy Jeff a nice dinner. Such a life is rare now. Let's hope Jeff keeps it up. If we're looking for someone to work with, it's Jeff first. Jeff's team has the meat rack ready over here. Now you can enjoy the food. Nothing better than seeing that, you know? At least until the next challenge. They don't have to worry about food. You can focus on the challenge. Danny listened to the laughter of the other teams. The mood is very uncomfortable. You can only cook small meat on the fire on the hour. I don't know how long this will last. Well, Jeff's team was pretty overfed at night. The rest of the meat is smoked and eaten. I haven't been this happy in a long time. Trick is feeling very hungry now. He didn't regret attacking Jeff. I just didn't realize he was so lucky. I have to work harder. Day 39 of the challenge. Jeff's team wakes up and starts eating meat. Everyone's health is getting better and better. But the joy did not last long. The show is here for another challenge. Tomorrow there will be a challenge to create the Allspark. That's what knocked Jeff out of the last challenge. He didn't realize how creative the show was. Gary had bad memories too. Then there won't be such a problem again. Danny, I mean, it worked last time, but I am not confident this time. I'm afraid I'm going to screw this up. I wonder what the next challenge will be. Let's wait and see.